Hello children, it's Grandma Carla, and I am here with the last part of chapter 2 on Beezus and Ramona. Last time when I was reading, I read the whole thing and it did not load properly. So I just found out there were 5 minutes cut off of chapter 2. So here we are going to finish chapter 2 of Beezus and Ramona. And remember that little Ramona is not acting very well, and she was at the art class and she was fussing, and so Ramona got this bright idea that she would tickle her. So here I'm going to read just a little bit over again, and then we will start finishing it up. "Ramona, stop that this instant," Beezus ordered. "Go out and play in the sand pile where you belong. Or I'll," frantically, Beezus tried to think what she could do. Then she had an inspiration. "Or I'll tickle you," she finished. "I guess I do have some imagination after all," she thought triumphantly. Instantly, Ramona stopped crying. She hugged herself and she stared at Beezus. "Don't tickle, Beezus," she begged. "Please don't tickle." "Then go out and play in the sand pile like Mother says you're supposed to," said Beezus. "Don't tickle," shrieked Ramona as she scrambled down from her stool and ran out the door. "Well," thought Beezus, "it worked. It really worked." Feeling suddenly lighthearted, she tacked a fresh sheet of paper to her drawing board and sat staring at it. Maybe Ramona didn't have so much imagination after all if she couldn't draw a picture of an imaginary green lizard. Well, if Ramona couldn't paint a picture of Ralph, she could. Ramona was not the only one in the family with imagination, so there. Beezus seized her brush and painted in another sky with bold, free strokes. Then she dipped her brush into green paint and started to outline a lizard on her paper. Let's see, what did a lizard look like? She could not remember. It didn't matter much though anyway, not for an imaginary animal. She had started the lizard with such brave, bold strokes that it took up most of the paper and looked more like a dragon. Beezus promptly decided the animal was a dragon. Dragons breathed fire. But she did not have any orange paint, and she was so late in starting her picture that she didn't want to take time to mix any. She dipped her brush into pink paint instead and made flames coming out of the dragon's mouth. Only they didn't look like flames. They looked more like spun sugar candy Beezus had once eaten at the circus. And a dragon breathing clouds of pink candy was more fun than an ordinary flame-breathing dragon. Forgetting everyone around her, Beezus made the pink clouds bigger and fluffier. Dragons had pointed things down their back, so Beezus made rows of spines down the back. They did not look quite right. More like slanting sticks than spines. Lollipop sticks. Of course. At that, Beezus laughed to herself. Naturally, a dragon that breathes pink spun sugar would have lollipops down its back. Eagerly, she dipped her brush into red paint and put a strawberry lollipop on one of the sticks. She painted a different color flavor on every stick, finishing with a grape-flavored lollipop like the one that Wayne and Ramona had shared. Then she held her drawing board an arm length away. She was pleased with her dragon. It was funny and colorful and really imaginary. Beezus wondered what she should do next. Then she remembered that Miss Robbins had said it was important for an artist to know when to stop painting. Maybe she'd spoil her picture if she added anything else. No. Just one more touch. She dipped her brush into yellow paint and gave the dragon an eye. A lemon drop eye. There, her imaginary animal was finished. By that time it was 4:30 and most of the boys and girls had put away their drawing boards and washed their muffin tins. Several mothers who had come for their children were wandering around the room looking at the paintings. Those who had finished, "Wash your hands clean," said Miss Robbins, "and I mean clean." Then she came across the room to Beezus. "Why, Beezus," she exclaimed, "that is a picture to be proud of. I didn't know whether a dragon should have lollipops down his back or not, but they were fun to paint," said Beezus. "Of course he can have lollipops down his back. It's a splendid idea. After all, no one has ever seen a dragon, so no one knows how one should look." Miss Robbins turned to several of the mothers and said with admiration in her voice, "Here's a girl with some real imagination." Beezus smiled modestly at her toes, while the mothers admired her picture. "We'll tack this in the very center of the wall for next week's classes to see," said Mrs. Robbins. "It was fun to paint," said Beezus, and her face flushed with pleasure. "Of course it was," said Miss Robbins, as she carefully placed the picture in the center of the wall. "Didn't I tell you that you were working too hard at painting before?" Beezus nodded. That was the wonderful thing about it, she thought, as she scrubbed out her muffin tins. Her dragon had been fun, while her flying horse had been work. And she had imagination. Maybe not as much as Ramona, but real imagination just the same. "Here's a girl with real imagination," Mrs. Robbins had said. "A girl with real imagination, a girl with real imagination," Beezus thought as she left the building and ran across the park to the sand pile. "Come on, Ramona, it's time to go home," she called to her little sister, who was happily sprinkling sand on a sleeping dog. And let's not forget Ralph. Good old Ralph. This is Grandma Carla with the ending part of Chapter 2 of Beezus and Ramona, and next is Chapter 3. I love you.